Hello, hello, Dr. Brett Spradlin here at Divine Design Natural Health. We got a crowd of ravenous barbarians. And today we are talking about plant power for the next plague, because you all know that there's another plague coming. And once everybody gets their shots for this last one, there's only a few million other viral things and plagues that we need to, shoot everybody up for after we get done shooting everybody up for this one. So it's just a nonstop conveyor belt of just shots and poisons, right? So plant power for the next plague. You might want to use, come right down here, bud. Boom, we saved you a seat. I know, make the walk of shame right in front of the camera. It's okay. Everybody give Jeff a round of applause. I'm just kidding. You're fine. You're fine. I love you. But so it's plant power for the next plague. If we got all this crap coming out of the woodwork for us, how about if we return back to the beginning where the plants kept people safe from so many things that they never even knew about before everything got replaced by patented petrochemical poisons? That's what I'm saying. So we have so many secrets that we just can't tell you. Like I said before, March 22nd, we have a highly censored topic that affects every person, every place, everything in your life. And you cannot find this or watch it anywhere else. So on March 22nd, Facebook, YouTube, everybody, we're going to be here seeing a movie that you cannot find anywhere else. We have to use code words. We have to use phrases that you can't mention anymore. There are certain words and things that cannot be said. You'll be algorithmed and artificial intelligence right out of existence, at least social media wise. So we paid for our patients to be able to view this thing, so bring your friends. It's our money we put forward so that we could spend it, sow it into our community so that you could find out about this and tell your friends. Other doctors doing this? Nope. Nope, not at all. Special mystery prize for whoever brings the most new people to next Monday. Special mystery prize. And it will not be some, funky thing. It'll be something cool. I promise. It will not. I don't know. That's kind of a cool chicken dinner. Is kind of a winner chicken dinner with the Bretsky is highly sought after. Yeah. I mean, I'm going to edit you right out. And then March 29th, we got a mystery speaker panel discussion, something for everyone, young and old. You're going to want to be here. You're going to want to see who this is. You're going to want to see what they have to say about what they've experienced in the world and here. And so let's get right on to it. So what you will learn tonight, a few things. Everybody's got sheets. Everybody's got Facebook, facial media, all the YouTubers out there. You've got the outline, thank you, in the comments or in the post. So print this out, take notes. Be wonderful. What you will learn, that there are other events that you will want to watch. You will want to watch, there's a class on YouTube and Facebook called If You Build It, They Won't Come, concerning immune system. There's one called We're Talking All About Immunity. We're talking all about, come on down. We got spots right up here. I can spit on everybody in the front and second row tonight. So, Evil Parents of Autoimmunity, that one is dealing with all of the autoimmune conditions. Everybody thinks, everything's autoimmune, blah, blah, blah. So Evil Parents of Autoimmunity, you'll want to check that out. Darkness to Light, Exposing the Lies. Parts 3 and Part 4 will deal with all of the ritual of what's been going on for the last, 371 days of 15 days to slow the spread? So that's Darkness to Light, Exposing the Lies. Part 3 and Part 4 deals with the ritual side of things, like really what was going on with all this nonsense. And then Part 6, if you really want an exposition on the history and background of the unmentionable V word, which we will refer to as shots or injectants for the sake of artificial intelligence. If you really want to know the history of the V word, check out Part 6 of Darkness to Light, Exposing the Lies. You might want to write these down. And then you will also want to know about the roots of pharmakia, the roots of your pharmakia healthcare. So if you're a Christian, if you're living in Cleveland, if you don't know some of the roots of your pharmakia healthcare, you might want to check that out. Those are other events to watch. Next thing, we're going to cover biblical overview of plants. What are we talking about with plants? Why does the Bible mention plants? We'll get into it. Misunderstandings about your immunity. How many of you know there are many misunderstandings about immunity, especially in the last year? If you were not informed of the misinformation that is out there from last year, I got news for you. You got to wake up. Open your eyes. How your immune system works, we're going to go over in a broad 30,000-foot view looking down. Antibiotics versus antibodies. I deal with this all the time. People say, they get antibiotic versus antibody very mixed up in their minds, and we're going to explain it. Overlooked reasons for immune deficiency. What is it about immune stuff that is, what can cause your immune system to malfunction? You might want to check out, you've been told all your life that autoimmune conditions is your body attacking itself, right? Well, if you've heard that and you want to know the truth, check out that one video I mentioned, Evil Parents of Autoimmunity. Going on next, immune system oils. So we will get into essential oils and immune system oils that will help in a massive way. Just a few notes you might want to take down. No virus, to my knowledge, can withstand an essential oil. I will say it again. No virus, to my knowledge, can withstand an essential oil. He snuck in on me. Come on in. We're packing them in. And all oils, in some way, shape, or form, are antimicrobial, antiviral, antibacterial, antiparasitic, or antifungal. So if you're struggling with something like that, or you just want something in your house to be able to diffuse, to keep out the bad guys, that might be it. We'll get there farther down the road. Immune system supplements. We'll talk about capsules. We'll talk about tablets. We'll talk about liquid herbals. We'll talk about homeopathic stuff. I might have to cut some of it out because it's a lot of stuff we're going to have to roll through very quickly to get you guys out of here by 9 o'clock. Everybody's okay till 9? 9:30? Okay. Good to see you, man. Welcome, Craig. Good to see you. And then from all those things I just mentioned, capsules, tablets, liquids, they're all going to be from the world's first and oldest supplement company. And they've been around 90 years. Some stuff that has been right under your nose, and it's right here. It's been here for 90 years. And lastly, other things that you will learn tonight is how we are either going to help you or we're going to greatly offend you. And however you take it is up to you. Okay? So some people, these days, you offend somebody if you take a male cord and you put it in a female outlet. Somebody's going to get offended. So when we're trying to talk to somebody about, hey, we're just going to change up some of your diet, we're going to remove some of this stuff out of your food, your air, your water, hey, you might want to get off these chemicals, you might want to change the hair dye, you might want to, the possibilities of offending someone in what we do is massive. We're dealing with a caked in, baked in pharmaceutical medical model that they and their ancestors have been rolling around in for decades, and they could possibly get pissed. Or they work in that field, and they could say, well, who's this guy to tell me? Well, I don't know. If what you were doing was working, you wouldn't be here. So I just say this. We will help you or offend you, and whichever way you take it, know our hearts are in the right spot. Whichever way you take it, man, is completely up to you. So we're doing our best. And know that we're fighting a big battle against some big, big Goliaths, and we would love you to be on board. If not, we'll love you anyway. All oils mentioned that we talk about tonight will be available at the front desk for a free double nostril sniff party of all you can sniff. So I'm sharing with you. You can even try a couple of them, put them on, smell them, see what they're all about. I'm going to mention a lot of stuff, and for the sake of, we got a packed room and I didn't want to, shove 300 oils around the room, we're going to have them at the front desk. So you guys can try them, sample them, smell them, whatever you'd like. But the oil chauffeur tonight, who's the oil chauffeur? The bouncer. Is that, yeah, you're the oil bouncer? Okay. All right, so just make sure everything stays under control. Remember, Well, let's get right into this. So, biblical plant power. Ask the plants, speak to the earth, they will teach you. I didn't say it, God did. Ask the plants, they will teach you. It doesn't say ask the pharmaceuticals. It doesn't say ask the rocks. It says ask the plants. Day 5. Now, we won't get into the whole creation thing, but day 5, understand, day 5 was when the fish and the birds came on the scene. Day 6 is when animals and humans came on the scene. So I could teach whole entire classes and about creation versus evolution. I came from one side of it half my life. The second half of my life, I woke up and went, there's no way all this crap happened by chance. So we could talk about the creation evolution thing. We got to have a discussion, but evolution will fall apart. You give me 10 minutes and evolution will fall drastically apart. Heck, you give me 5 minutes and I'll have you doubting it, even if you're an evolutionary biologist. So I'm not here to debate anybody on the whole creation versus evolution thing. I'm saying day 5, fish and birds, day 6, animals and humans. This will make more sense than any number of millions and billions of years of lightning hitting a mud puddle and everything happening by chance and creating you and everything you see. That's just the simplicity of it. But on day 5, and God said, let the water teem with living creatures and let birds fly above the earth across the expanse of the sky. So God created the great creatures of the sea and every living and moving thing with which the water teems according to their kinds. According to their kinds. I won't get into it, but, basically there's male and female. You can't reproduce without right? All right. They weren't adopting back then. Day 6, animals and humans. And God said, let the land produce living creatures. Let the what produce living creatures?
Land.
Soil, dirt, ground, right? According to their kinds, livestock, creatures that move along the ground, and wild animals, each according to its kind. Let the water teem, let the land produce, right? Continue. Then God said, let us make man in our image. He didn't call you out of the water. He didn't call you out of the ground. He said, let us make man in our image, in our likeness. Let them rule over the fish of the sea and the birds of the air, over the livestock, over all the earth, and over all the creatures that move along the ground. And then I'm leaving out a few things just for sake of time and space. But then God said, I give you every seed-bearing plant on the face of the whole earth, and every tree that has fruit and seed in it. They will be yours for food. Fast forward into chapter 2. And now remember that like chapter 1 of Genesis is kind of a chronological account of creation. Chapter 2 of Genesis is more of a topical. People think they're conflicting with each other. They're the same account told in two different ways. But in chapter 2, the Lord God formed the man from the what?
Dust.
What else came from the ground? Plants. So God formed the man from the dust of the ground and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and the man became a living being. Are you getting a pattern here? Next slide, pretty please. And the Lord God made all kinds of trees grow out of the ground, trees that were pleasing to the eye and good for food. In the middle of the garden were the tree of life and the tree of knowledge of good and evil. We know how that went down, right? Then fast forward into Genesis 2, verse 19. Now the Lord God had formed out of the what?
Ground.
All the beasts of the field, all the birds of the air. What does all this mean? Well, here, yeah, I'll say it. I just wonder if most Christians realize how the entire fall of man, as recorded in the Holy Scriptures, occurred due to eating something that they weren't supposed to. I'll say that again. I just wonder if most Christians understand that Golden Corral on a Sunday is how this whole thing got started. You write that down. That's a good one. Write that down. As a matter of fact, here, let me show you something. Ryan, sorry to throw you for a loop. I am going to get into this. What is this word? I'll just leave it here. Diet, actually, if you really look at it, coincidence or not, I don't know. Diet is the word die with a cross at the end. I don't know. You form your own conclusion on that one. But what most people think is a dirty word is actually what you're supposed to consume to live. What most people think that is a fast weight loss plan. Just food for thought before we move on. But what does all this say? What are we saying here? The shared origins of plants and humans, what are we talking about? Where did the origins of plants and humans, where did they both come from? The ground. Okay, good, fabulous. Now, and here, take a note, just this, we're going to hit on this. I've taught this before in like other classes on genetically modified organisms. I have one called like GMOs and HMOs, how they're both killing you. There's a bunch of other stuff where we talk about genetically modified organisms and all this stuff. Think about it. The soil to plants is food to humans. The plants, you would never need a pesticide or an herbicide. The plants would never have viral, bacterial, parasitic attackers if they were able to extract the right amount of nutrients out of the soil. You would never need pesticides or herbicides if we farmed the way that the Bible said to farm. But we don't do it. Let it lay fallow on year 7. You'll have enough on year 6 to get through year 8. No, we don't think that. Big Ag says, nope, farm it until it drops. And in the meantime, you're going to grow that corn, that soybean, the wheat, whatever. I grew up on a farm. I know how it all works. Every seed we ever planted was genetically modified. And I didn't know that until I was mid-20s. I'm like, oh, yeah, it's got skull and crossbone on the sides of the chemicals we're dumping on the stuff. This doesn't make sense. So they're all genetically modified because the plants can't live properly because they don't have a good immune system, because they don't have the right minerals in the ground, because we farm the crap out of the soil. Does that make sense? So the plants have no immune system, so they can't fight stuff off, and then therefore the plants get attacked by stuff. And then what do we as stupid humans do? We say, well, we got to spray it with chemicals to keep the bugs away. You see? We screwed up right from the very beginning. And that's where all your genetically modified foods come from. That's where all your pesticides and herbicides and all this crap comes from. It comes from the love of what? Is the root of all what? Correct. So just let that sink in for a minute. And in the meantime, we have a commercial break. Welcome the lovely and talented Miss Andrea.
You've never called me talented. Okay.
I called you lovely? Did I say that?
I'm Andrea. I'm a patient advocate here for longer than Dr. Brett would prefer, probably. But I do our commercial breaks and read some testimonials, offer a laugh or two. So this testimonial is a long one, but it's a really, really good one, and it's a pretty recent one. She said, when starting at Divine Design, I was told the cold laser helped with a lot of things. I was not a believer. I can relate to this. So when I had a floater in my eye for months, I did not think the laser would help, but I tried it anyway. I guess she probably assumed, what do I have to lose? She said, when asked, how are you now? She said, after a few sessions, it started to decrease. So every week I would do a couple more. My floater has gone from an 8 out of a 10 in severity, with 10 being the worst, to a 1, and I can barely notice it. I know it will be completely gone very soon. So just because, don't feel discouraged if you feel, if you're questioning what you're learning here, or you're questioning, a subsect of what we do here, what you're learning here. Don't let that keep you from coming back and learning more and experiencing more, because some people, the flip switch is, on a dime. For some people, it's a little bit more of a progressive mindset shift, and that's okay. It was progressive for me. I thought he was a quack at first. I went home and I told my husband, I said, I think he might be an anti-vaxxer. Boy, is he. But, don't let that keep you from coming, like I said, learning more, experiencing more, even through the doubt and the questions, because that's what you're meant to do. We're here to encourage you to doubt and question so that you'll be firm in your faith and your belief of what is right, on the other side. So now he's got some laughs for you on the screen.
Well said. That might be the greatest thing you've ever said. That might be. That was great. And we've got some laughs. Laugh track. He's perfectly healthy, doctor. I agree. So let's get some vaccine into his system. Start him on a lifetime of unnecessary medical treatments. Here, I'll get out of your way here. Isn't that crazy? Yeah, God's creation wasn't good enough. He didn't do a good enough job. So we got to inject things to teach his immune system. We're going to get into more of this. That's what they're taught. You got to teach the immune system. This says, for some of you in the back, take one a day with tomato and cucumber, and the farmer is handing lettuce to the woman at that pharmacy. Kind of, isn't that great? That's the way it should be. But think about this too. Your food places, your grocery stores, it says right on the outside, this is how we've elevated poisons to such a high level. It says food and what on every grocery store? Pharmacy. Let that sink in. Holy cow. We put drugs up on the same level as food. And actually, it's harder to get food than it is drugs, because the pharmacy's right. You can pull through a drive-through and get your drugs. You got to get out and go get your food. Think about that. Next. Watching everyone get sick with the flu while I'm feeling great, enjoying my herbal tea with essential oils. Amen, brother. Amen. Notice he said getting sick with the flu. Notice that? Next. Speaking of that, at a stoplight the other day, this pulls up next to me, and I looked over and I did a triple take, and I thought, you can't even get food delivered to your house for free, but you can get that for free. Let that sink in. What does that tell you? What does that tell you? And I'm not, I know they're right down the street here. I'm not bashing a local business. I don't even know these people. I just thought, you can see these with Rite Aid cars and CVS cars, and they're all over the place now. But the point is, it's free drugs, free drug delivery. That's how badly they want you poisoned. They'll do it for free. Next. Okay. So misunderstandings about your immune system. Number one, I want you to get, when flu season is over, what starts? When allergy season is over, what starts? When flu season is over, what starts? When allergy season is over, what starts? Flu season, allergy season. Flu season, you're going to hear it forever, and you're never going to think the same way about it. Flu is not a season. Flu is a virus. Flu is not a season. Cold is not a season. Cold is not a virus. But if you build this into the psyche of the society enough, and you just put it on rinse and repeat, your kids will grow up saying it. Oh, it's allergy season. Pollen's in the air. The pollen count. The pollen count. The pollen count. Meteorologists, the pollen count. It's just ridiculous. Pollen. People have dealt with pollen in trees and birds and bees for 6,000 years. And now we'll get more into allergies. Your immune system needs to be taught. So these are misunderstandings. These are not true statements, but I'm saying your immune system needs to be taught. Unbelievable. And you know what? on this one, I wasn't going to mention this, but I might as well. There was a text message the other day questioning the effects of vaccines. Somebody sent this to me and said, "You're not going to believe this." Guy had just gotten the vaccine, and he said, and the person that had given me the text message said, "You have to see this." Asked him, "How are you doing?" Because there have been many bad reactions. Well, let's just say, quote, I quote this: "Mostly aches and chills as the vaccine teaches your system how to fight the virus. But it's worth it as I'm fully vaccinated now."
No, you're not.
No, you're not. But that's the end of the quote. No one on this entire planet, no one in this world is fully vaccinated. No one. You'll never be. If you want to be, then you're behind by about 70 or 80 vaccines. Because the current CDC schedule for kids is about 70 or 80 different doses of different vaccines. So if you don't have all those, then you're not fully vaccinated currently. Okay? And your immune system is not taught anything by a shot, I can assure you. I've researched this for half of my life. Here's a book. This is what you need to know about vaccines. This is all of their own literature from AstraZeneca, Pfizer, Moderna. If you would like to look at this later on, I just used the V word like 5 times, didn't I? Here are meningococcal. These are all the inserts from the manufacturers. You ain't gonna argue with us. These are the inserts from the manufacturer. And I do have Charlie to thank for this. Charlie found this. He said, "Hey, let me get a copy of that." He did a horrible job scanning it though. He tried. No, but HPV inserts, rabies inserts, everything, the history of vaccines, the coronavirus. If there is something written by the current pharmaceutical makers of the shots, it is in this book. You'd be shocked at what's in here. Yeah, Charlie.
I think there's one thing that's missing, a new set of.
Yeah.
I think a new set of inserts came out for the COVID
Yeah.
shot.
Yep.
And if you were to print it off, I think it's about 3.5, 4 inches thick.
Yeah.
So
Sounds about right. And can we get a kid volunteer? Somebody's probably oldest kid. Oh, Ashley. In a few minutes, get one of Ashley's kids to come in here. Yeah, speaking of inserts, here's another bag of inserts. And I'm going to have somebody come in and unwind one of these inserts and show you how big it is. This is the instruction manual to all your shots, just FYI.
Which they don't like giving out.
They do not like giving those out. No, they do not. Okay, so, and if you really do want to know, like really the history of where shots came from, what you're not being told, kind of here's what they say, here's what's really happening, with historical references, not opinions and not feelings and thoughts and ideas, but back to Edward Jenner, back to Jonathan Edwards, back to Sinners in the Hands of an Angry God, go back to Darkness to Light, Exposing the Lies. Just like with Andrea, when she came in here for first heard me talk about shots, she thought I was bat crap crazy quack. Well, once again, she was wrong. But what you can do is go check this out. This is a brand new class we did. It was the Darkness to Light, Exposing the Lies, Part 6. If you really want to understand shots. Hey, darling, you want to come up here just for a second? Just stand right over here. And if you can go real slow while I'm talking, stand right here. Stand right here, over here a little bit. Can you take this and unfold this? Yeah, let me just make sure it's not stuck together. Yeah, there you go. Can you just unfold that? I'll be back. You're doing a great job. Keep going. Yeah, just take it apart. Unfold. Yeah, can you help? You're going to see this in a minute, and you're going to get shocked. Then we're going to pass it around. This is one, okay? So you want to see Darkness to Light, Exposing the Lies, Part 6. It's available on Facebook. It's available on YouTube. Oh, that was quick. Now, thank you, darling. It's almost as big as she is. This is the instruction manual to your shots. Pass that around. That's one of them. Okay? So now, next, misunderstandings. With last year, that we're now into day 370-something of 15 days to slow the spread, with this whole nonsense, the masks, the shots, the hand sanitizer, the social distancing, people have been brainwashed into thinking that there's some crazy stuff going on and that your immune system has no chance of recovering or defending itself against this. It's ridiculous. New plagues are everywhere. Like I said, if we don't shoot this one down, then we're going to have about 3 million other viral deals that we have to handle once this one's gone. Media avoids any mention of the real causes of the sickness, if you notice. Media avoids any mention whatsoever of real plant medicines and natural outcomes which have been around for quite some time. That's why I tell you, if it's on TV, you don't want it. If there's an advertisement on TV, it's not good for you. It's not good for you. Here's one thing, too, that you need to know, understand this is how deeply it runs. Patients who say, I'm concerned about shots, get a call from Child Protective Services. Doctors who say, I'm concerned about shots, get a call from the medical board. Interesting. If you're a doctor that questions the safety and efficacy of what you're being told, you will get a call from the medical board. Immune responses to plants, animals, let me say this clearly. Immune responses to plants, animals, and other humans are not a normal part of life. I don't care what your meteorologist says. Allergies are a new occurrence in human history. Once we shut the cameras down, if you want to know at the end where allergies came from and how long they've been around and what actually caused them, I'd love to discuss that with you. That's a question at the end. If you have questions too, write them all down and we'll answer them at the end. Lastly, but not least, is medical causes of all disease. Two things. If you look at medicine, I've said this in so many other classes before, there's only two causes to all problems in the human physiology. It's germs or genes. Idiopathy, what is that one? Means it's an unknown cause, right? So if it's not one of these, medicine will label it as it's idiopathic, meaning we don't know what causes it. Fibromyalgia, chronic fatigue, all these idiopathic syndromes. Syndrome means we don't know what causes it. So fibromyalgia syndrome, name something, chronic fatigue syndrome means they don't know what causes it. So those would be idiopathic things. Okay, but everything else is it's either genes and you can't do squat about it, or it's germs and we have an antibiotic. So how your immune system works. There is so much crap about this. And one thing too. I heard someone tell someone else, I'm allergic to mammal meat. This is something that came out. This is something her doctor told her. I'm allergic to mammal meat. I didn't have the heart to tell her, you need to tell your friend she is a mammal. This is what some of the doctors are telling people. She was actually told, I'm allergic to mammal meat. I can't have mammals. I can eat fish. I can eat stuff. Unbelievable, right? So note, there are hundreds of autoimmune diseases. All allergies are classified as these. If you want to know more about autoimmunity, check out the evil parents of autoimmunity, like I told you. There are two things that got together that created autoimmune diseases. Autoimmune diseases, what are some autoimmune diseases? Rheumatoid arthritis, multiple sclerosis, many of the allergy things and the syndromes and the symptoms and the things that I just mentioned, chronic fatigue, lupus, would be classified as autoimmune conditions. Sjögren's syndrome, Raynaud's syndrome, there's so many, there's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of autoimmune classified as your body attacking itself. Your body is not that stupid. That's not true. So if you want to know more about that, or you know somebody that needs that information, watch that class. So no one inherits an allergy. These are notes we're getting to before your immune system, how your immune system works. No one inherits an allergy. It's not germs, it's not genes. And no one is born with an allergy. One acquires an allergy just like one acquires an infection. You're not born with an infection, you acquire it. How? The terrain becomes ripe for an infection of bad guys. And then lastly, your immune system distinguishes, this is the basic overarching goal of your entire immune system. Your immune system distinguishes friendly or unfriendly agents. That's it. Next slide. So your entire immune system, everything you need to know in 2 slides. This is it. This is the simplicity of it. There are entire volumes of books written on these 2 things. This is it. We have 2 kinds of immunity. We have innate, meaning inborn into you or non-specific. And then the number 2 on the next slide we'll get to is called acquired or specific immunity. But for number 1, we're born with this. Phagocytes and NK cells, which we'll describe here in a moment, are like security guards and policemen. They're on the prowl 24/7. They're guarding, protecting, taking unruly criminals into custody, ushering them to the nearest exit, whether they're dead or alive. That's what your lymph nodes are. These here, when those get swollen, up and down, behind your head, behind your ear, in front of your ear, those are your lymph nodes. So phagocytes, phago means eat and cyte means cell. So they're cells that eat other cells. Phagocytes are another name is macrophages, engulf and digest enemy agents. And then your natural killer cells destroy things like tumors, cancer cells, some microorganisms, and infected cells. Microorganism, what is that? Bacterial, virus, fungus, parasite. So not to get too complicated, this is a 30,000-foot view of your immune system. This is why people, if you don't know this stuff, you can be lied to. But if you know human physiology and you know science, they can never lie to you. They can make crap up and put it in one of these things and pass it around. But no, if you know physiology and you know science and you know math and you understand how science works, they cannot lie to you. Aluminum outside your body that is a toxic metal put into your bloodstream does not become okay. It's a poison. Simple. They can't lie to you and say, well, small amounts of mercury are okay. No, it's not. It's not true. Not true at all. Next. So the two kinds of immunity, this is number 2, acquired or specific. These are the military special forces, okay? White blood cells. When you do a complete blood count or you do a comprehensive metabolic profile, you do a CBC, complete blood count, they're testing and figuring out how many of each of 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 that you have in order to tell whether you have a bacterial, viral, fungal, or parasitic thing going on. You can test it. We're going to discuss these right here. Lymphocytes. Lymphocytes, so where do they live? Lymph tissue, cells in the lymph. So your lymph nodes, right? Your tonsils, the first thing that gets ripped out when you're a kid. So then people wonder, oh, my kid's just always sick. Well, he's sick because they got their tonsils ripped out. Lymphocytes can learn, adapt, remember, unlike phagocytes and natural killer cells that we just discussed. These are the military special forces, of which are the B cells and the T cells. We've discussed this many times. Thank you, Charlie. We've discussed this many times. The B cells are produced and educated in bone marrow, and they congregate in the lymph nodes. They're just ready, standing by. The T cells produced in bone and educated in the thymus gland. If any of you are patients here, you know one of our major focuses is on your thymus gland. If you open up any physiology or anatomy book, the thymus gland will be comprised. Every bit of information on the human thymus gland in any book I've ever seen is about a paragraph this long. Very important organ that matures your lymphocytes into T cells, because what disease do you specifically hear T cells mentioned alongside?
AIDS.
AIDS, and what else? Cancer. Interesting, isn't it? Interesting. So interesting that these get so much coverage in the media with major diseases, but this guy right here that educates, stores, and proliferates and matures them gets this much mention in any physiology or anatomy textbook. I've always found that so interesting. But that's one of the major focuses of what we do here. I focus on that organ quite substantially, and you should. And you see great results with it. So next, one big thing that everybody needs to understand is the antibiotic versus antibody thing. Antibiotics means, it says it right there. What does antibiotic mean? Anti-life. So when you're taking an antibiotic for 3 years, and then you're wondering why you're sick, I couldn't tell you the number of people. I'd have to take my shoes off to count the number of people that come into me and tell me that they've been on an antibiotic for 9 months. You know what I mean? Wow. Wow. 9 months. Super full spectrum, heavy duty, atomic bomb antibiotic for some kind of skin thing or whatever. Means anti-life. You put something anti-life into your body, what will it produce?
Death.
Correct. Death. It's produced outside of the body in pharmaceutical laboratories. It destroys or interferes with development of a living organism. How antibiotics work is it's a poison, like penicillin was from a mold, from a fungus. They figured out, hey, if we put this in a culture, it kills a certain type of bacteria, gram-negative, gram-positive bacteria. So it destroys, so it interferes with the ability of that bacteria, the cell wall. It breaks down the cell wall of the bacteria, and the bacteria explodes. So it destroys or interferes with the development of a living organism. Does an antibiotic sound like something you want to take any other time than when you might be on a deathbed? No, not at all. It deals with live bacteria only. Will an antibiotic do anything for a virus?
No.
Will an antibiotic do anything for fungus? Will an antibiotic do anything for parasites, which are much more common than what you've ever been led to believe? No, they only do something for bacteria. Each is designed to deal with a spectrum, broad spectrum antibiotics of related microbes. So you got Staphylococcus aureus, you got Staphylococcus luteus, you've got all these Staphylococcus bacteria. Broad spectrum antibiotic will take out all those staph. Broad spectrum, big deal. They're chemical poisons with no reproductive capability. Take a little snapshot in your mind of all this. Now we're going to automatically juxtapose and we're going to compare antibiotic, which is a drug made in a lab to destroy things, bacteria, designed for a spectrum of stuff, chemical poisons. Now we're going to go to antibody. Here's the difference. An antibody is produced inside of the body by your immune system. There are designer proteins on the surfaces of white blood cells tailored to combat specific antigens. Big word for foreign invaders, right? Deals with living organisms and non-living substances. If you've got metals, chemicals in your body, whatever, your body will develop antibodies to that chemical or metal to kind of cordon it off. Each is designed to deal with only one antigen, not a spectrum. Here's what I mean. You'll see this in the media and stuff like that. Corona, you were talking about spike proteins, but like in books, you'll have these little tiny Ys coming off. Those are antibodies. And you'll find this one little tiny antigen over here, and you'll find this one here. That's a square. That's a triangle. That's a circle. So you'll have these specific antibodies that can only fit with certain antigens. You'll see that in the media. You'll see it in textbooks. And produced by living cells with reproductive capability. So cells activate more cloned soldiers, which are the white blood cells, armed with specific weapons, which are the antibodies, to destroy antigen. So your cells produce more cells that have more antibodies to take out the bad guy. That's the comparison between your antibodies made in your body, designer proteins that deal with living and non-living stuff. See how bad to the bone antibodies are versus antibiotics? We just stumbled upon a little chemical that could take out some bad guys and, maybe, help somebody out if their immune system is so compromised that we need to buy them more time by taking out everything. Does that make sense? The only time you'll ever take an antibiotic, I would ever take an antibiotic, is if I'm on my deathbed. And most of the antibiotics, the C. diff and the MRSA, nurses, where do you get C. diff? Nurses, huh? Where do you get C. diff? Where do you catch C. diff? Where do you get MRSA most of the time? Nosocomial infections. Hospital-acquired infections, right? Okay. Now, overlooked and most often unmentioned causes of immune compromise. So this is the other thing that the media is not telling you. Next slide, pretty please. It's the other thing the media is not telling you. Our society's favorite toxins of modern living. The food, the air, the water, the cosmetics, the cleaners, the vaccines, and the prescription petrochemical pharmaceutical poisons. So food, you got the pesticides, the herbicides, the preservatives, antibiotics, synthetic hormones, artificial sweeteners, the list goes on. Air, you got dust, you got candles, you got Febreze, you got the little plug-in Glade Renusa air freshener things that are killing people. And you've got the chemtrails in the sky. Water, you got the chlorine, you got the fluoride, you got the plastic bottles. Cosmetics, you got the synthetic compounds, petrochemicals, creams, lotions, hair care. Somebody in here is wondering about that right there. Go to geoengineeringwatch.org. You will see the most unbelievable scientists documenting the most unbelievable stuff that was discounted for decades as conspiracy theory only. Then the government came out and said, you know what, we have been doing it, and you're right, because they couldn't deny it anymore. Swept it under the rug, and it's still there. Cleaners, household and industrial, shots, antibiotics, chemical, what are in the shots? Every stressor known to the human body is what's in a shot. We've got food particles. Want to know why your kids are allergic to peanuts? Food particles, undigested food particles. Foods, metals, chemicals, and immune challenges. All 5 stressors to the human body are found in a shot. Food particles, bugs, bacterial, viral, fungal, parasitic, metals, and chemicals. Plus, the number 5 one is it creates a scar when it goes in and when it comes out. So antibiotics, chemicals, heavy metals, animal and human tissue are all in the shots. You want to know how I know that? It's all right here. The manufacturer, I don't read some conspiracy theory crap. I read their stuff. It's right here. See? I read the stuff they publish, the stuff nobody else will read. See? That's how that works. And when, where's that? Pass that around. Isn't that neat? Here's a bunch more. You know what? That's one shot right there. Which shot is that, Charlie? Fluviral or something? Causes suicidal thoughts. Perfect. Here's a whole bag of them. You got this from totally different ones. This is all from a patient who was a pharmacist. Huh? Gabapentin? That's a neurological anti-epileptic drug. So there's vaccine ones in here. I thought these were all vaccines, but I didn't unfold them all, as you can tell. But that's one drug. That's what you need to know. And here's a bunch more. All right, so, where was I? Oh, and right here, one thing I want to cover, right here, petrochemical pharmaceutical poisons, sometimes called legal drugs, subsidized by your government, paid for with your hard-earned money, by insurance companies with your best interests at the very heart of their existence. That's sarcasm. Anybody get this in your mail every year? Household Hazardous Waste Collection Day, okay? If you open this up and you just do a cursory reading of it, I don't know if you can, you don't have to zoom in on this, Rye, but if you just look, acceptable items, they talk about automotive, marine products, home maintenance, improvement products, home lawn and garden products, miscellaneous, and electronics. I do this every year. I bring this up every year. Every time it lands in my mailbox, I'm like, oh, let's see if they updated it. But this is not to throw Cleveland Utilities under the bus, but this is just one thing that comes in your bill, and this is one thing that everyone gets. If you look at this, it's Household Hazardous Waste Day, so they don't want the stuff going in a landfill. They want to come by and pick it up specially. So what are some of the things they list? Oil and fuel additives, carburetor and fuel injector cleaners, starter fluids, body putty, gasoline, all the automotive stuff you don't want in the water table, you don't want in a landfill, right? Home lawn garden products like pesticides, fertilizers, wood preservatives, stuff like that. If you just keep reading down, miscellaneous. I'm going to read this out loud. Miscellaneous: pool chemicals, photo processing chemicals, mercury thermostats and thermometers, medicines and drugs, aerosols, Did you catch that? Medicines and drugs you don't want in the landfill, but it's okay for you to swallow them.
When we waste our medications in the hospital, there's a specific bin.
Right.
Not allowed to dump them down the drain.
Right. Yeah. When you get rid of stuff in the hospital, yeah, it's got to go in a biohazard, type of, not biohazard, but it's got to go in a special receptacle.
Sometimes biohazard.
Oh, so I'm sure. Chemo drugs that go in the biohazard bin. Yep. But you're not supposed to touch chemo drugs, but it's okay to swallow them. Isn't that interesting, right? So now let's get to the heavy duty stuff. Here, pass this around. Nobody believes me. Pass that around. It says it right here. Medicines and drugs. Next time you get this in your mail, pass that around. Next time you get this in your mail, you'll read that and you'll go, wait a minute. So your moms, your dads, your aunts, your uncles, your cousins, they're taking stuff, they're putting it into their body that isn't supposed to go in a landfill. Charlie, we need a microphone.
I remember hearing or reading something, and since we've got a bunch of medical professions here, I just want to verify that, so if someone takes and drops a vial of
Mercury.
Of a shot, it is considered a hazardous spill, from what I heard, and they have to bring someone in for a special cleanup, but they can put that in your body.
You're right.
That's not
Correct. Yep. Interesting. But you're a conspiracy nut for thinking that there's something wrong with it. For thinking, now, if you remember, I show why people aren't thinking these days. Not only why people can't write cursive and why they can't pay attention more than 5 minutes and read a book, they're flipping through Facebook or something. I went through, why can't you have intelligent conversations with people without them getting emotional and bent out of shape and ready to kill you and burn down, a school and tear down statues? I say, it's because they're fluoridated, they're food sedated, they're medicated, they're vaccinated, they're cosmeticated. It's all right here. All the crap that people are eating, drinking, breathing, and wearing is what's making people absolutely bat crap crazy. There's no denying it. Next. Now, and commercial break, right? You ready for a commercial break? Andrea!
Yes. All right, so this is another good one. It's a little bit shorter. This person says, before Divine Design, I was on sleeping pills for insomnia. I've had trouble sleeping at night since I was a baby. 1 week after testing for and being put on hypothalmex, which is a supplement, standard process supplement that we have here in the office, she said, I'm actually sleeping at night and sleeping well. So if, your body's having an issue like sleeping or anything else, that you are using a medication for, or you don't know how to deal with it, there's a supplement for that. There's also an oil for that, or 3.
There's oils, there's herbals, all that stuff. So oils can be. Oh, wait. We've got funny stuff. Ready? I wear a mask to protect my health. That's what's going on. The people, I'll eat fast food, drink neon-colored energy drinks, take all my prescriptions, and nary a question, but I really must do research before trying this tea tree oil stuff. How many, people like this? You got relatives like this? Next. Uh-oh. Me trying to protect my mental health during the pandemic. I'm surprised I haven't seen this. And then, you can't really see this, but this is a finished sentence by the AI on a Google search, which, by the way, if you're still using Google, you're out of your mind. Get off Google, use Brave browser, use DuckDuckGo, use Start Page, use anything but Google, unless you want everyone to know your what you're searching and looking for, and then don't complain to me about hearing, getting an ad from Google or Facebook after mentioning that you wanted, a red scooter. Don't be complaining to me that, you got marketed with red scooter emails. Don't. So here, the Google search engine, why censorship, you can't really read this from the back, but why censorship is important, why censorship is necessary, why censorship is important for us, why censorship is good in schools. You got old George saying, Benjamin, get the musket. Isn't that crazy? That's how they finish your sentence. If you were in a class long ago that I did called Earth Day in Ancient Medicine, I compared all the different types of doctors. That's another one you might want to check out. Medical doctors, doctors of osteopathy, doctors of chiropractic, naturopathic doctors, acupuncturists. I compared, I went through, and we showed how if you type in natural health, Google will end your sentence with is a scam, is fake. Chiropractic is pseudoscience. Chiropractic is quackery. Same thing. So I got away from Google year and a half ago. I would recommend the same. Next. Oils can be diffused aromatically, ingested orally, applied topically. I know a lot of you know this, but there's some people in here who've never touched an oil, so they just need a little review. So you can put it in the air, you can put it in your face, or you can put it on your skin. Either way, it's going to go right into your bloodstream. Fabulous. So next. And as far as this goes, just go back real quick, Jonathan. As far as this goes too, I did a series of four biblical first aid biblical first aid WellWorks events. And we tackled like 3 biblical oils in each one, 3 or 4. And those are called biblical first aid. If you just go to the Facebook or YouTube playlists and you just type through biblical first aid, there's part 1, 2, 3, and 4. We also did one back in January called Save Your Life Ahead of Time, Plant Medicine 101, where we kind of went through the basic 10 or 12 oils. We also did recently Essentially Rewarding, I think was in February, and that was dealing with like why you need to know about oils. So if you want to review some of those, that would be great. There are the 4 biblical first aid classes, and then there's Plant Medicine 101, dealing with like the first 10 or 12 oils that you all need to understand, and then Essentially Rewarding. That was the last one. Okay, so we're going to roll right through these. I want you to write some of these down, some of them that tickle your fancy. I'll ask you at the end, too, there's a big pattern. We're going to go through about 30 oils. We're going to go like that, okay? We got to get through this. However, there's a pattern with all of these immune oils. This is just a smattering of immune oils. This is a very incomplete list of common and very inexpensive oils you should be using. You can diffuse them, you can drink them, you can eat them, you can stick them on your skin, you can rub them in, you can throw them in somebody's eye to protect them from pink eye. You can, no, you can't do that? Okay. But basil, used extensively in Asian and Indian medicine, both cultures are exceedingly healthy when compared to the results of American medicine. Would you agree or would you agree? Yeah, right? So basil has a very distinctive smell to it. Next, please. Used in ancient incense, we got blue cypress here, perfume and embalming. It's also antiviral. Think herpes, think cold sores, think HPV, human papillomavirus. One of these vaccines is called Gardasil, right? You ought to read up on that one. That's the worst vaccine there is. Yeah, you're shaking your head. He's going into epileptic convulsions. Here, give me the gabapentin. Next. Antimicrobial, antibacterial, antiviral, antifungal, antiparasitic. All the wee beasties, all the bad guys, guess what? Blue tansy. Now, don't be surprised. Some of the immune stuff might be a little pricey because of, immune. You'll notice your immune supplements, immune oils, some of them will be way up here. Some of them will be way down here. Next. Aromas similar to cinnamon. This is cassia. Remember, all these are out front, available for a double nostril sniff test. You can do a single nostril, I don't care. You can do one, you can do the other. You can do both. Aroma similar to cinnamon, but is physically and chemically very, very different. Antimicrobial, antibacterial, antiviral, antifungal, antiparasitic. Next. This is cedarwood. We did a class on I believe it was part 3 of biblical first aid. Cedarwood. It's antibacterial. It stimulates lymphatic tissue, your lymphocytes, your lymphatic tissue. Discussed at length. Oh yeah, here it is. In biblical first aid part 3. When you think cedarwood, just think King Solomon and the cedars of Lebanon. Very interesting stuff there. King Solomon, wisest man who ever lived. I would recommend checking this oil out. Next. Very powerful antimicrobial. This is cinnamon bark. Antimicrobial, antibacterial, antiviral, antifungal, antiparasitic. Next. This is clove. This is one you need. The people on the island of Ternate were free from epidemics until the 16th century when Dutch conquerors destroyed the clove trees that flourished there. Healers in China and India have used clove buds in treatments since ancient times. Clove's principal constituent, eugenol, was used in the dental industry for years to numb gums. Where'd it go? See, Thieves Blend, we'll talk about that later. It's antimicrobial, antibacterial, antiviral, antifungal, antiparasitic. Remember, all this was happening until old Whitey showed up and threw a monkey wrench in the plans. Remember this. What happened to the Native Americans? Same deal. What happened to the Incas and the Aztecs and the Mayans? Probably same deal. You know, you just got a bunch of Dutch and French and Spanish guys coming here, mixing up the rotation and bringing a bunch of bad stuff, bringing them some fire water, and then they were never the same. Smallpox, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. But they, you know, they would have been immune to that too. Next. Peruvian and Brazilian, this is, I'm sorry, Copaiba. Peruvian and Brazilian, that's C-O-P-A-I-B-I, if anybody's paying attention to that. Peruvian and Brazilian Amazonian cultures have used this for centuries. It's antimicrobial, antibacterial, antiviral, antifungal, antiparasitic. Is anyone seeing a pattern? Is anyone hearing a pattern? Very important. Next. Elemi. Same botanical family as frankincense and myrrh. It's antimicrobial, anti-cancer. Very affordable compared to frankincense. Next. Here we have Eucalyptus globulus, radiata, and blue. There are 3 different types of eucalyptus available. Antimicrobial, antibacterial, antiviral, antifungal, antiparasitic. They contain eucalyptol, the key ingredient in antiseptic mouth rinses. You've all smelled this before. It smells just like the Vicks Vapor Robe Mom used to rub on your chest. Or it smells just like Listerine. The flavor of it. Eucalyptus trees have been planted in parts of North Africa to successfully block the spread of malaria. So like I said before, neither you nor God should have been taken off guard by these new pandemics and new scamdemics that have been unleashed, because everything we ever need is already here. Didn't everything come from the ground? Right. Next. Antimicrobial, antibacterial, this is fennel, F-E-N-N-E-L. Antimicrobial, antibacterial, antiviral, antifungal, antiparasitic. Next. And remember, this is just a small smattering of about 30 oils. This is frankincense. The name is derived from medieval French word for real incense, given to Christ at birth, used to treat every conceivable ill known to man and was valued more than gold during ancient times. Antimicrobial, antibacterial, antiviral, antifungal, antiparasitic, anticancer. Pattern, right? Next. ImmuPower. This is a blend, so that means it has the single oil of hyssop, the single oil of mountain savory, cistus, camphor, frankincense, oregano, clove, cumin, and dorado azul, all in one. It's called ImmuPower. Very interesting oil. Interesting smell. I didn't like it when I first used this oil, but it grows on you like a fungus. But then it kills the fungus. Next. This is lavender, very common oil. Everybody uses this thing. Promotes tissue regeneration and speeds wound healing. Very antifungal. Next. This is lemon. If you need to take goopy stuff, sticky stuff off of anything, this is your huckleberry, and you can replace your pledge and shine your everything with it. Promotes leukocyte. What are leukocytes? White blood cells. We talked about that. Promotes leukocyte formation and combats tumor growth. Next. Put it in your coffee, your water, your tea. Completely inhibits methicillin-resistant Staphylococcus aureus. That's the nosocomial hospital-acquired infection we talked about earlier. You guys would know that as the flesh-eating bacteria that everybody's scared of in hospitals. Am I right?
Oh, yeah.
MRSA, where does it come from? Well, places that use a lot of antibiotics and a lot of antiseptic, that's where it lives. You want MRSA, go to a hospital. Completely inhibits MRSA growth. That's good to know. Next. See, one thing you learn from one of these classes, just like what these guys were saying, one thing you learn might save your life or save somebody's life. Next, the mountain savory is strong, very strong, antimicrobial, antibacterial, antiviral, antifungal, antiparasitic, stimulates your immune system. Next, that's mountain savory. This one's myrrh, M-Y-R-R-H, myrrh, antimicrobial, antibacterial, antiviral, antiparasitic, antitumoral, means anti-tumor, anti-cancer. Anesthetic, so that's painkiller. Yeah, next. Oregano, one of the most powerful antimicrobial oils known, has a 99% kill rate against strep, antimicrobial, antibacterial, antiviral, antifungal, antiparasitic. Strep is a bacteria. So this right here is powerful, powerful, powerful. You put it on your feet, you'll taste it in a few seconds. Try it. Yeah, try it. Next. Patchouli. This is the other hippie scent. This is not the patchouli you're thinking of. This is good patchouli. Antimicrobial, antifungal, antitumoral, insect repellent. I mean, there's so many uses for these things. You know, you don't need to buy DEET. Next. Antimicrobial, peppermint. Antimicrobial, bacterial, viral, fungal, parasitic. Also a digestive aid. You get the best of both worlds. Throw your Nexium out, throw your Zantac out, and just get some of this. You know what I mean? Next. That's not medical advice. Sorry. Don't come off your petrochemical pharmaceutical poisons. Next is purification. This is a blend of citronella, rosemary, lemongrass, tea tree, lavender, and myrtle. This is personally one of my favorites. This is probably the first one I really fell head over heels in with. Next. This is Ravensara. It's an oil from Madagascar that's referred to as the oil that heals. It's antimicrobial, bacterial, viral, fungal, parasitic. See the pattern? There's a pattern. Next. This is RC. Does anybody know what RC stands for? Respiratory what? I did not know that. Is it? I did not know that. Respiratory comfort. I didn't know. Oh, of course, right. Yeah, of course. You just can't say anything that matters. RC, respiratory comfort. Eucalyptus globulus, myrtle, marjoram, pine. Eucalyptus radiata, Eucalyptus citriodora, lavender, cypress, black spruce, peppermint. There's 10 oils in there. It's a combination. Okay, that's a blend. Next, we're almost through the oils. This is rosemary, antimicrobial, antibacterial, antiviral, fungal, parasitic, antitumoral. We'll talk about that when we get to thieves here in a minute. Next. We're running through these. And did you notice it's in alphabetical order? This particular young living oil, this is sacred frankincense. This is probably my favorite. Sacred frankincense is probably my favorite for reasons that I'm going to show you right here. This oil is the first Omani frankincense oil to be available to those outside of Saudi royals or the privileged of the country of Oman. It's regarded the world over as the rarest, most sought-after aromatic in existence. The production of this oil marks the first time any Westerners have been able to experience the unique spiritual properties of sacred frankincense essential oil. This is the frankincense of the ancients and the traditional spiritual oil of biblical times, believed to be taken to Christ as a child. This is my favorite. And when you smell this, you'll see why. It's obvious. Next. But I put this in here because it's known to inhibit the growth of cancer cells, along with sacred sandalwood, which is another awesome, it's one of my favorites. One of my favorites. Next. I have 413 favorites, by the way. Sage, known as herba sacra, or sacred herb by ancient Romans. Salvia officinalis, salvia, is derived from the word for salvation. That's the Latin name, Salvia officinalis. Used for oral infections, it's antimicrobial, bacterial, viral, fungal, and antitumoral. See why essential oils were completely gone from human understanding for about 1,500 years? Until patented petrochemical pharmaceutical medicine could take over, right? Oh, are we at, that's it. That's the end of the oils. We have a commercial break, and then we're going to cover some supplements you need to know, and then we'll get you out of here. Andrea!
This is a funny commercial break.
Oh,
Okay.
no. Funny
This person
one.
says, this sure beats a mammogram or a physician's physical. No cold room, in a tiny gown, waiting forever, and looked at all over. You're welcome.
That's the best testimonial. Sure beats a mammogram, beats a colonoscopy, doesn't it?
Yeah, sure does.
Yep. Oh, wow, yeah. That was the funniest. Huh? We'll talk about that. That's an off-camera question right there. So next. So we talked about the time. Where are we at? Oh, no, I'm sorry. We got to do the memes. Yeah. So I will not wear it on my face. I will not wear it any place. I will not wear it to get in. I will not wear it on my chin. I will not wear it on my ear. I will not wear it out of fear. I will not wear your stupid mask. I will not wear it. Do not ask. Oh, no, we can't read this one. I can't read that one. Died of coronavirus, died because they were old. Oh, yeah. So you got the flu, died of coronavirus. But over here, you got the vaccine, and you died because you're old. I think that's what it says. That's a funny one. That's a darn funny one. Next. Oh, yeah. Anyway, if one death out of 10,000 cases shut down the country, then shouldn't one death out of 10,000 vaccines shut down the program? When you come next week for the movie, I am going to have a special treat prepared so that everybody can see what's actually happening, what's actually being reported to the government about what is happening out there. Because you're not going to see it on the news. What if I told you eating healthy is actually eating normally? Yep. Right. Next. So here's the supplements you need to know about. Oh, we didn't cover the thieves deal. Was there a, did we? No. Did we skip a few? Thieves? We got to, we missed tea tree and thieves. Huh. Oh, there's tea tree. There we go. Antimicrobial, bacterial, viral, fungal, parasitic. Next. Thieves was created from research. You need to know this because there's a lot of different products. Okay? There's a Thieves toothpaste, soap, mouthwash, fruit, and veggie soak. I soak everything that I eat in the veggie soak. Cleaner, laundry soap, hand purifier, not hand sanitizer, Thieves wipes, all that stuff. So this is very versatile, and it comes in many different products. Thieves was created from research based on legends about a group of 15th century thieves who rubbed botanicals, plants, on themselves to avoid contracting the plague while they robbed the bodies of the dead and dying. Remember, there was an actual real plague back in the 1500s that actually did kill people. Remember.
It caused the fleas not to mess with them. They wouldn't have got it.
And what happened right before that, we got rid of, the witch hunts and all this stuff. We got rid of the cats. All of a sudden, fleas take off. We got rid of the cats, right? Here come the fleas. That's how this was. The plague took off, and they had crappy sanitation, right? Bodies of dead and dying. When apprehended, the thieves were forced to tell what their secret was and disclose the formula of the herbs, spices, and oils they used to protect themselves in exchange for a more lenient punishment. Clove, lemon, cinnamon bark, eucalyptus radiata, and rosemary. We covered all 5 of those in the previous slides. This is a blend containing all 5. You use this on canker sores or tooth problems or whatever, and you will notice a difference. The mouthwash is phenomenal. I drink it regularly. It can't hurt you. Number 1 ingredient's like colloidal silver. It's fabulous. Young Living products include toothpaste, soap, mouthwash, fruit, and veggie soak. I mean, they got it all. You can't beat this stuff. And if it's good enough for some 15th century thieves who beat the Black Plague, it's good enough for me. Next. Thyme. Antimicrobial, bacterial, viral, fungal, prevention of infection. Most active ingredient is thymol, used in many over-the-counter products such as mouthwash and vapor rubs. This is your Vicks Vapor Rub stuff right here. If you want to remember your childhood, like I do, I sniff that because of its purifying effects. Cool? All right, moving on. Supplements you need to know about. So many people have no idea that plants power against the next plague. Plants contain so much power. You don't have to be worried about the zombies. By the way, Amanda did the slides. Don't you just love the slides with the zombies walking in the back? Isn't that great? Yeah, I love it. Good job, Amanda. This guy right here. Okay, so Conjuplex. Oh, we can't read it. It's blurry. But Conjuplex, bovine thymus, ribonucleic acid, bovine bone. Okay, so why would we have bovine thymus in there? What does thymus do? That's your immune system, right? T cells, boom, right? So you're giving the DNA imprints, you're giving the raw materials of what people have done for thousands of years on the open plains. They're eating the organs, they're eating the eyes, they're eating the bones. The big bone broth craze right now that was started by a few people, this product was made in 1950 something. The third ingredient is bovine bone. Why would there be bovine bone in here? What's in the bone that would be so important? Marrow. Which starts what cells, which mature what cells? B cells were made in the bone. So Conjuplex is a very acute immune system support supplement. This is the stuff you tell kids, hey, or parents if they've got kids, hey, your kid gets a sniffle, your kid gets a sneeze, have them do 2 or 3 of these every hour or 2. You'll thank me later. Okay? Then if I can read this, defatted, bovine adrenal, organic sweet potato, veal bone. See the veal bone again, right? And then, I can't read some of this. Or aerial parts, organic alfalfa, organic buckwheat. So you've got a bunch of different plants with animal glandulars or bone. Then here, this is Cataplex ACP. So in here, you've got carrot root, bovine kidney. We can't get into the whole reason why the kidney's there with the carrot root. There's a reason. Nutritional yeast, bovine adrenal, organic dried alfalfa. Why organic dried alfalfa? The root system on alfalfa reaches so far down in the ground, it digs other minerals that no other plant can dig. Dig way down. Alfalfa roots dig way down. If you see tillandsia as an ingredient in some Spanish, or some tillandsia in some standard process supplements, such as Spanish black radish, tillandsia is a plant that is so bad to the bone, it sucks the minerals. It's a Spanish moss, tillandsia, that grows from like cypress trees and stuff like that down in Florida. You'll see it everywhere. And it is so bad to the bone, it'll suck nutrients. This is why they put it in the supplements. It'll suck nutrients and minerals right out of the air. That plant will suck things out of the air. So tillandsia, Spanish black radish, is a huge, it's in with Spanish black radish, I should say, is a huge ingredient, constituent to many of standard process supplements, right? And then over here we have Immuplex. And Immuplex, you can't read it here, but thankfully I know this. Immuplex has bone marrow, thymus, spleen. Why would it have spleen? Bovine and ovine spleen. What is bovine? Cow. What is ovine?
Bird.
Sheep. There are few standard process supplements that have porcine, which is, what's porcine? Pig. A few. Digestive enzymes, stuff like that, where a pig's digestive tract is very different than a cow's. So there are some standard process supplements that have porcine in them. So standard process whole food supplements, here's just 3, but some others that you might want to know about are, Epimmune complex. Many people in this room might be on Epimmune complex. That has turkey tail mushroom and maitake mushroom. Thymex is a cytosol extract of a thymus gland. So that's the cytosol. You take the cell. All you science people in here will love it. Thymex, you take the thymus cells, you crack them open, take the cell membrane, get all the goop, the cytosol extract. Thymex is thymus cytosol extract. So anything that ends in X with standard process means that it was the cells of that organ cracked open with the cytosol, all the cytoplasm, all the cellular organelles that made that cell what it is, put into a supplement. No other company on earth does this. Say what?
It's too complicated to do that.
They're the only company that knows how to do it. It's very complicated. Yeah. Cataplex C. Spleen desiccated. And spleen desiccated also has bovine and ovine spleen in it, and then echinacea C. Royal Lee, the founder of Standard Process, was talking about echinacea in the 1950s, before you ever saw it on the shelf at Walmart. Next. Now, when people come to me and they say, well, Dr. Brett, I like what we're doing. We're getting results. Been here 3, 4, 5, 6 months, whatever. I'm feeling better. But why I got to take so many pills? Say, good question. I'm glad you asked. Then I ask, how many organs do you have? How many drugs were you on for how many decades? Did you count those as well as these? Then I ask, you have a car. How many fluids does your car have? Well, it's got oil, it's got gas, it's got wiper fluid, it's got brake fluid. Women have blinker fluid. But your car has all of these fluids. Your car has all these fluids. Would you drive your car without all those fluids? So why are you thinking you're going to get by with all your organs without heart, skin, adrenal, liver, hypothalamus, mammary gland? What is that, ladies? Boobies, right? Muscle, neurons, eyes, testicles, bone, ovaries, pancreas, parotid gland, think mumps, pituitrophin, that's your pituitary, lung, prostate, kidney, spleen, thymus, thyroid, uterus. 22 organs that we're going to rebuild. And you're going to ask me why you got to take so many supplements when you haven't done anything for the last 40, 50, 60 years except try to murder yourself slowly based on your deductibles, right? I'm just challenging people. I don't get upset. I don't care. I'm just challenging people to think differently. That's it. Because this will rebuild your organs. The herbals and the liquids and the heavy-duty herbal stuff will stimulate your hormonal pathways, your neurotransmitter pathways will gently guide things back into alignment, but you're not going to rebuild a pituitary with plants. It's not going to happen. That's why there's a heck of a case being built right now for going back to what we talked about, where the plants and the animals were pulled out of the same dirt that you were pulled out of. That is this healthcare. That's the future of healthcare. Medicine is dying. The ship is burning. People are jumping off. Medicine is dying. The ship is burning. People are jumping off.
But what do I do for my money?
We'll talk about that. We'll talk about that. There's options. Anybody in here in medicine that thinks they can't get by without making money? You know how big of a thing is happening in natural healthcare right now? Everybody is aching to get into this. Everybody. Because they're sick of what happened last year and they knew it was crap before it dropped. We have a few job openings right now. We get thousands of applications, cover letters, but we're not asking for applications and cover letters. It's very interesting because remember when we said people are medicated, fluoridated, you want to know why people aren't thinking clearly? Well, we've just seen very interesting patterns over the last few years. We're always hiring. There's not a day that goes by where we're not hiring. The right person, we're hiring, right? But when people don't read the directions, it changes your perception of how that person would perform. So it's not that they're a bad person, it's saying they just need to read the directions. That's all. You know, so we see it in our realm too, just like you guys all see it with once you start coming out of the cloud and you start thinking for yourself and you start going, holy cow, this makes all the sense in the world. Then you start seeing it in your relatives. You start seeing it in the dude next to you at this checkout line. You start seeing why people aren't thinking clearly. It just takes time. It just takes time. But everybody's jumping off the ship. But right here, that explains why it takes time. We're going to stimulate your heart, right? There's cardiotrophin in some of the stuff you're taking. You want to know why? 3 days, and you don't feel, his words were, I don't feel like I have a horse kicking me in the chest when I go up the stairs anymore.
Wow.
Right? It's so simple. It is so simple. You don't need CAT scans and MRIs and blood labs and all this nonsense to tell you, yeah, we don't see anything. They're just looking for pathology. They're looking for messed up cells or put a camera up your butt, and they're going to look for something to cut or something to drug. Period. End of story. That's it. Is there any other option? Well, Dr. Brett, should I get my mammogram? Same thing. They're going to look for something that they're going to drug or they're going to cut. Do you want to get drugged or do you want to get cut? Well, no. Well, then don't do it. I don't know. That's the simplicity of it. I don't want to get too complicated. I want to keep it very simple. Next. So once you get all that down, then we move you on to MediHerb, herbal tablets, capsules, liquids. Many of the liquids and the capsules and the tablets of MediHerb contain what? And they have for decades. Right. This one here is called andrographis complex. And just to kind of show you, there's echinacea root, there's holy basil. Remember the basil, the first oil that we covered? It's here in whole plant form, right? And then we've got andrographis herb, and we've got holy basil essential oil. So we've got the holy basil full herb, and then we've got the holy basil essential oil. Andrographis, heavy duty immune support. Whereas you'd be taking 3 to 6 to 8 of the standard processed whole food supplements, when you move over to the herbal stuff, you're only taking 1, 2, maybe 3 a day. That's how much more powerful, right? Artemisinin complex has wormwood and sarsaparilla. And I love when people say, well, what do you think about elderberry oil? We do it. Elderberry juice, syrup, whatever. But to us, it's called sambuca. To, noobs, it's called elderberry. So ashwagandha complex has skullcap, licorice root, ashwagandha root, Korean ginseng root, astragalus. These are all just some of the immune stuff. So many of you in this room are on some of these. Astragalus complex has astragalus, echinacea, eleuthero root extracts. Berberine has philodendron extract, very interesting plant. Black cumin seed oil. heals this herb or this black cumin seed oil by ancients was referred to as the seed that heals all but death. We use quite a bit of it. Echinacea premium, only the root. We learned this from the Native Americans, just like we learned, bentonite clay and all the stuff that people use, for all kinds of reasons. We learned it from the Native Americans. They used only the root. And it's only the root that will make your tongue tingle. It's the only effective part of the plant. If you go to CVS, Rite Aid, Walgreens, you will find echinacea, but it will be the leaves or the stems or the flowers. It will not be the root. Echinacea, real echinacea costs money, just like real frankincense costs money. Ganoderma and shiitake. Ganoderma, you would know it as reishi mushrooms. Shiitake mushroom extract. Garlic forte. Garlic is a very powerful antiviral, antifungal. Golden seal, we won't get much into that, but herbal throat spray, phytosynergist, that has marshmallow root, not marshmallow like Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, but marshmallow herb root. Has 3 or 4 other, has echinacea in it. Kids love this stuff. Remember growing up on chloroseptic? Raise your hand, yes or no? Half the room. Yep. Remember that crap? This is God's answer to chloroseptic. So good. You got a sore throat, you'll feel it, and it'll be medicated and feeling great within seconds. Viranon, what does that handle? Bacteria, virus, fungus, or parasite? All of them. Wormwood complex contains black walnut hull, wormwood, and clove oil. Okay? So, the moral of the story is, between oils, between supplements, and between herbs, there is nothing walking through that door that we're afraid of. We do not have to wear masks. We do not have to social distance. We do not have to spray chemicals on our bodies or our hands. You can come in here and smile. We will hug you. We will love you. We will shake your hand. We will give you high fives, handshakes, bro hugs. I'll even kick you in the knees. I don't even care. We love you so much, we'll kick you right in the knees. So you don't need to be afraid of any of this stuff. We've got you covered. God did not leave you abandoned for some strange, mutated, viral menace. He has already left everything here he's ever going to leave to combat this horrible, vicious, violent plague that I'm sure part 2 is rolling out any day now. I don't mean that in a bad way, but just know that, know the plan, know the game. They've written books on what they're going to do. I've read those books. You need to as well. So that's why I'm preaching my guts out every Monday for the last year. I've been in this room preaching my guts out to this community, telling people, here's what's happening, here's what you need to do. Be prepared, learn how to use this stuff. Don't gripe to me about, well, I'm taking so much stuff. What you ought to be thinking is, this is a sacred art. This is a sacred obligation. This is a sacred right. And instead of pumping money into your car or your boat or your four-wheeler, you should be learning how to take care of your body with the tools that God gave you. Be a good steward, the one who buries what God gives, what the master gave. And the one who buries it didn't get the reward. The one who took the knowledge, goes out, reinvests it, makes double the money, comes back and says, Master, here's your money. And the master says, good job. I knew you'd do it right. Right? So to those whom little is given, it's going to be taken away. But to those whom much is given, there's much more responsibility. So what you ought to do is, instead of saying, hey, why am I taking all this stuff? Look at what's in the stuff. Look at how powerful it is and go, you can't get this in other countries. There are some countries that this is illegal. This is a sacred obligation, right, and privilege that you are afforded where you are currently in this location of time and space. So look at it with great reverence and look at it like, wow, these are the tools I need to save my life, my family, my dogs, my cats, my uncles, my cousins, my everything, right? This is a sacred thing. A couple of closing things. We got a commercial break here in a second. You want to do it now? Yeah, commercial break. So Andrea, and then a couple of closing thoughts, and we'll answer some questions, and we're right on time.
All right, so this testimonial is one from somebody in the room. Surprise. Okay. He says, I never knew my body didn't like wheat, corn, and oats. I can sympathize. On day 3, after starting the program, we had hot dogs and burgers. Hot dog bun, no problem. Hamburger bun, 10 out of 10 headache, again with 10 being the worst, and severe nausea. After 3 days of supplements, my body made me put down the burger bun. My brain said buns are bad. Put that down. No wheat, corn, or oats since. Happy body. I can relate. I thought I was eating healthy, you know?
Yep.
And then you put down the genetically modified stuff, even if it is a whole food, if it's genetically modified,
Oh, yeah.
you're done
Everybody
for.
comes here thinking they're eating healthy. Oh, well, I don't need the diet stuff. I don't need the nutrition thing. I eat healthy. Oh, well, that's why you have 12 diseases, you're missing 6 organs, you're on 15 meds, and you're overweight. I don't mean that meanly. What I'm saying is you're not being realistic. Don't lie to me. I'll call you out. You know, in love, I will call you out and say you're not healthy. You have been lied to. Just because your blood lab looks good because of all your crap food and crappier drugs does not mean you're healthy. Because who's reading your blood lab is probably sicker than you are. Hello, right? Can I get an amen from the nurses? Amen. So, that being said, what was the, So nobody comes in here and says that I totally need to change my diet. Nobody comes in here. They're Americans. They're eating healthy in their minds, right? They're not starving. They're not emaciated Ethiopian children, so they think they're eating healthy, right? They're not starving. But this was somebody who had high blood pressure, had been on how many meds, don't know. Every time you put something into your body that's poisonous to your body, would your blood pressure go up or go down? Up. If you do that breakfast, lunch, and dinner, is your blood pressure going to stay up or stay down? If you do that breakfast, lunch, and dinner for every meal, is your blood pressure going to be chronically elevated? So if you're consuming something your body does not like, you will have high blood pressure. Cut out what your body doesn't like, and you will not have high blood pressure. It is so simple. And then we'll rebuild the pathways and the arteries and the heart muscle and everything with everything we just showed you. See, so people who are here know somebody who's here, but they're just kind of hanging on and saying, well, I'll wait and see if she gets results. You're avoiding the inevitable. You're going to have some kind of meltdown, a guy came in a few months ago, 48 years old, had a heart attack. That's the reason he came in. Had a heart attack, finally had a wake-up call. Why don't you get in, guys? Why don't you get in here and do prevention and maintenance like you would on your Harley or on your Ford or Chevy or whatever, right? Get in here and do maintenance. So, few closing things. Oh, let's do the memes. Final memes. Sorry. When the Rona tries to get you, but you've already sat down at your table, there's a force field, a protective bubble. Isn't that great? I'm so glad they install those at all the restaurants. Normal people? Conspiracy theorists. Wearing water bottles on their head. People did this. The toilet paper apocalypse. Remember when it all hit? It was a year ago. It was a year ago right now, sitting right here. Remember we thought the world was ending? Why would my unvaccinated kids be a threat to your vaccinated kids if you're so sure vaccines work? It's the age-old question. Why do you need a mask? Why do I need to wear a mask if you're wearing one? Illogical, medicated, vaccinated, cosmeticated, food sedated, fluoridated people. Glyphosated. Thank you. Next. Everyone's getting sick, and I'm like, y'all need some thieves. Seriously, I would put my faith in thieves' oil, plants that God made, before I would put my faith in an antibiotic created by an atheist in a laboratory. Amen or amen? Last closing thoughts. You simply cannot eliminate exposure to all environmental toxins. However, with what you learn here, you can greatly limit your exposure while flushing out what has been previously stored. Flushing out, what do I mean? Foot spas, saunas, pulses, nutrition. We're going to move stuff out of your body that's been stuck in your tissues for decades, right? Field of psychoneuroimmunology is just beginning to recognize the connection between emotions and physical maladies such as allergies and immune compromise, colds, flus, infections, cancers. See, if you were to tell somebody, hey, I think some of this might be emotional and we can help with that, they might look at you crazy. But now if you call it psychoneuroimmunology, they're all up in it. Interesting. Emotional stuff, how emotions tie into your physical sicknesses. Unforgiveness, bitterness, strife, anger, jealousy, all kinds of stuff, man. You remember the structural, chemical, emotional? Triune of health? Some of you, this is all you came here for. 3 ways to kill a human being. Structurally, chemically, and emotionally. Right? I used to teach this in every class. Structurally, chemically, emotionally. We fix this with chiropractic. We fix this with nutrition. We fix that with emotional stuff. There's a way to fix it all, right? Viruses and bacteria have a tendency to hibernate along the spine. If you've ever heard of herpes zoster, you've heard of this, right? Or chickenpox, right? When the immune system is compromised, pathogens can manifest into symptoms of illness, and you'll think you've got all kinds of other little symptoms and other little sicknesses, but really you just got an activation of a virus that manages to hibernate right along your spinal column in the sympathetic ganglia on either side of your spinal column. So when we adjust you, what does that do?
Makes you unsympathetic?
Boom. Boom. Yeah, well, when you're adjusting up here, the occiput and the sacrum, yeah, you're hitting the parasympathetic ganglia, but when we rip your head off from your neck to your waist, that's your sympathetic ganglia. So you can modulate the nervous system based on where we adjust you. Diffusion of essential oils is one of the best ways to prevent the spread of airborne pathogens. So what about putting them on your body? What about consuming them? Plants and animals versus plant-based foods made in a plant. We did a thing on this. What was that? Was it the last class where we showed all the plant-based foods coming out in the supermarket and the marketing nonsense, the lies. Was that the last one? 2 weeks ago? Yeah. The plant-based foods, it is a lie. They're spelling chicken and beef and sausage differently now, if you haven't noticed. There's a reason. So all this plant-based food stuff is printed on 3D printers in laboratories and shoved off to you as a better option because it's plant-based than the meat stuff. They don't want you eating meat. They don't want you eating meat. You can't mess with somebody eating meat. Docile, they want you docile. Make sure you're just eating vegetables. We will help you or we will offend you. It's up to you how you take that. Plants and animals. So this is what God made, pulled out of the dirt, and this is what atheists in a laboratory print for you to eat out of biosludge, which is human excrement, by the way. One Clydesdale, now, hook up on this train and let's pull. Understand this. You're sitting here now. Every single person in your friendship vicinity needs what we do. They're dying slowly, and they're paying an insurance company to do it. If we link up, think about this. One Clydesdale can pull 8,000 pounds alone. When you put two Clydesdales and they're harnessed side by side, the two horses can pull 24,000 pounds together, totaling 3 times that of what they could do alone. What's my point? Working together, man, makes it a lot easier. Not just as we link up and you introduce us to more people, but as you link up or you have someone in your relationship in your life. It's always easier for husbands and wives to do this together. It's always easier. It goes quicker. You just have to learn a little bit of stuff. You have to get to a certain saturation point of understanding, and then you're both on the same page. And it's not, honey, I want beer and pizza. Well, I'm cooking, roots and beans. Leaves and berries, twigs and berries. Well, I want my beer and pizza. And then it's just this and this and this. It's so much easier to do this together. Let us help all of you in this room. Get somebody here next week. Get them to this movie. Let us help you, and let us help you help somebody else. So that being said, let's give away the freebies and stuff. Let's prepare any questions, and let's get out of here because we're on the right track. Any questions before we break off of facial media? Microphone. Yes. Yes. What do we got? Microphone.
I have a question about, which I know about all the medicines or toxin, but like my son has had a pituitary tumor since he was 15, and cabergoline kind of saved his life. He was going blind because the tumor was pushing on his optic nerves and everything.
What caused the tumor?
I mean, he had it since he was 15, but he probably had it sooner because he was going blind, and it took a year to figure out what.
The question you need to ask is what caused the tumor?
That's what I'm saying. He's 40 now, so.
So what caused the tumor?
Nobody ever said.
Right. That's the question you need to ask.
It's a pituitary tumor.
You're asking, well, I don't know what you're asking, but
the
thing
question
is, you're saying
there's something he
what
could
I would
done?
ask in your shoes is what caused the tumor?
Oh,
And we talked about what causes immune system breakdown.
yeah.
When your immune system breaks down, what diseases will you have? Colds. What else? Flus and cancers. So where did that come from is what I would be saying. I would be asking like, okay, his immune system was hit because if he's got a tumor, if he's got a cancer, right? So go ahead with your question.
Okay, so is there a possible, even after being on it for 20 years, is there some kind of alternative where he could
Only
not
if
get off
he-
the cabergoline?
Only if he wants it to be.
I just wondered because
Only if
without
he
it,
wants
they
it to
said
be.
he would go blind and die.
There's always so much hope in medicine. They overwhelm you with hope and subjectivity, don't they? They just overwhelm you.
I had to be on thyroid medicine for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
too, and I'm not anymore.
There's no medication in medicine. Well, I shouldn't say no. There are very few medications in medicine where they don't expect you to be on it for your entire life. Right, Janice?
Right.
Right?
Right.
Right? Right?
That's the money-making thing. You try to find a business
But-
where you keep getting residual
So,
income.
next question. Only if he wants it. That's the answer to the question. Yeah. You can't help somebody unless they want help. But if they're thinking that the drug is saving their lives, then, you know. Yeah. Next question. Yes. Facebook one?
We've got an online question. Someone's asking, how do you respond to someone who says that God gave medical doctors the science and tools to help with sickness?
That's a great question. That's a great question. You'd have to judge them by their fruits. If they're a surgeon, that can put somebody's hand back on after a farming accident, that's very different than someone who does not acknowledge your creator and therefore chooses to poison you with pharmaceutical, petroleum-based chemical products. Judge them by their fruits. Do what Jesus said. What was that? Read it again for me. Let me make sure I answered the whole thing, because that's a great question.
She wants to know how you would respond to someone who says that God gave medical doctors the science and tools to help with sickness.
Okay. So the other thing is the science and the tools. You have to define science. You have to define medical doctors, because there are some medical doctors who are right on board with everything I'm saying right here. There are other medical doctors who will not ever stop doing shots and drugs and surgeries. So you'd have to define which medical doctors are we talking about. You'd have to define science. And then what was the rest of this question? Who gave them science and the tools?
Yes,
You'd
to
have to-
help with sickness.
Right. So you have to define science, because science can be bought and paid for now. The science that's telling you shots and drugs and all this stuff work is paid by the same industry that's making the shots and drugs. There's independent science by labs and researchers across the world, and then there's industry science by the same companies that are designing the products. So you'd have to define science, and then you'd also have to define tools. Like if it's a tool that steals, kills, or destroys, who is the author of it? The thief comes to steal, kill, and destroy. Every drug has in its name the mechanism of its action. Suppressors, blockers, and inhibitors. It says it right in the name of the drug. So those suppressors, blockers, and inhibitors, the drugs that are suppressing, blocking, and inhibiting human physiology, are stealing, killing, and destroying, just like the thief would do. You are operating against the physiological processes put in place by a living, loving creator, shutting them down, and then causing a logjam with upstream consequences called side effects. That's how I would answer that question. But you would judge them just like Jesus said, judge them by their fruits. If he's got good fruits, maybe he'll have 10,000 testimonials on the wall about how people don't have insomnia, chronic fatigue, MS anymore, and maybe be backed up by dozens of people in a situation like this where there's no such thing as paid advertising. Those are fruits I would pay attention to. But if they're just sponsored on your Blue Cross Blue Shield website as being the closest within a radius of your house, I probably wouldn't pay much attention to it. Yeah, good question. Thought-provoking question. I want to thank whoever asked that. That was very good. That was a very good question. I like that.
Okay, I have a quick question. I have surgical and cardiovascular ICU background, and my question is about when foreign objects are introduced into the body because of a procedure like a cardiac stent, or if you get into a motor vehicle accident and have pins and rods in your body, and they tell you certain things like you have to take aspirin now for life, or you'll get
Right.
clots at that foreign object that's been placed into your body. Do you have a herbal or an alternative to keep the
Alternative to
blood
aspirin?
thin? Yes.
Been around for 6,000 years. And we've got many alternatives. Just depends on what that person's body needs. And it's all different depending upon their background, their genetics, their diet, what drugs they're on, what organs they're missing. Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because aspirin came from what? It's willow bark. White willow bark. We just figured out a way. It's always been around. We just figured out a way to copy it in a laboratory and make it cheap. Rather than growing all the white willow to strip it of its bark, we just figured out a way to make salicylic acid in a laboratory from a chemical process that will have the same effect, at least on human nerve cells, and decrease the pain. Or break up a clot, you know. Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, there's many options. Here, I'll give you a little nugget. You want to know one of the best options for thinning of the blood? Fish oil. It's so simple. It's so stupidly simple. What people eat for 6,000 years? Where was all of civilization? Every major city was around what? Water. What swims in water? What swims in cold water, therefore has to have very fluid membranes and oil in its body to move stuff around. Fish oil, yeah. And the deeper it swims, the colder weather, the colder water it's in, the better fish oil it is.
Sounds essential to me.
Sounds essential. Essential fatty acids. Notice this. Yes, fish oil. There are essential fatty acids. There are essential amino acids. There is no such thing on earth as essential carbohydrates. Notice that. What does that tell you? Next. Craig, what do we got?
So just one thing. The question was good, but the question was also loaded. That was the Facebook question. Because I think a doctor or someone that goes to medical school, how much does he learn of what you're teaching?
Very little.
Because they're taught what the pharmaceutical companies allow them to learn.
Right.
And therefore it's a factory. So even
Sure
though they're
is.
given the science and they're given the tools, are they given the right science and the right tools?
Totally.
So
Absolutely. Very well said.
It goes back around.
Sure is.
And I mean, it's a great question, but
It is.
It's loaded.
Yeah. But I think that's a very heartfelt, at least from how I read it, like a heartfelt, like how would you say if God, because there's so many doctors out there that think they're doing God's work. But I would have to question their intent, their motives, their tools, their science. Like, do you know that the science that you're reading is not biblical science, it's atheistic science?
No, med school gets this, like, you get a class
Right.
out of 4 years.
And nutrition and everything we're doing, yeah, very little, hardly any of that.
That's it,
Yeah, and even chiropractic school, I didn't learn any of this nonsense in chiropractic school. People think chiropractic school is where you go to become a conspiracy theorist. No, absolutely not. They taught me in chiropractic college that cancer was genetic, autism was genetic, and that vaccines were great. I'm not kidding. My school taught me that nonsense, and I went to one of the best schools. What does that tell you about the crappy ones? Yeah, no kidding. Like chiropractors are taught cancer, autism are genetic, and that vaccines are good. I had to learn all of this stuff outside of that system because I just did not make sense. I worked in a hospital for 3.5 years before I became a chiropractor. So I already knew it was crap. I just had to figure out why. I had to figure it out. I already knew it was crap. Think about it. If drugs and vaccines and surgeries and procedures were working, you wouldn't have a healthcare crisis. Everyone would be healthy Olympic astronauts because they're so pumped full of crap and they're missing so many organs, they'd be living forever. With all the surgeries and the drugs and the chemicals and all the crap out there, but medicine's not working. So people are dying, and you're being told that people are living longer. Garbage. They might live till they're 80 or 90, but they won't know their name, and they'll be crapping, they'll be crapping 12 diapers a day, and they won't remember who you are. So they might be on life support longer, but they're not living a healthy life. Question. But yeah, very good, Craig. Absolutely, I agree.
And along with what Craig said, how many doctors do you, when you see them, they go out and they look up on Google or something, what's wrong with you? And most of that is these quote unquote science that's probably from, excuse me, other doctors, pharmacy companies, stuff like that. So.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and Google, just like those search results that I showed you, if you type any of this nonsense, we actually have a little clause in the program guidelines when people sign up. You agree that you will not Google your symptoms and go down the rabbit hole on the internet because that will lead to fear. It will lead to Medscape and WebMD promoting you to see your doctor immediately and get this drug. That's just the way it's designed. It's a tunnel. It's a click funnel to get you right back into the pharmaceutical system. So do not Google your stuff online or you will think that your last bout of acne is stage 4 melanoma. Don't do it. Please, your hemorrhoids are not cancerous, I promise.
Painful.
They're painful, but they're not cancerous. So yeah, don't Google the stuff because just like Charlie said, man, it's all paid. It is all a funnel to get you to go right where they want you to go. Get off Google. Just get off Google. Get off Google. Get off Google. Anybody else? Janice. Microphone. Hold on. Yeah, we got to have a microphone so that people can hear online.
Did you want to answer the question where allergies come from?
Oh, yeah. You know what? We'll shut the camera off. We'll shut the camera off, and then I'll answer where allergies come from. Some of you have already heard this. It's a very, yes, don't let me forget. We got another question here. I'm going to I'll shut the cameras off, and then I'll tell you. Yeah. All you Facebook people who don't come to class, we're going to answer where allergies came from right after we shut the camera off. But Kim, we got one more question. Kim?
I'm actually pretty new to the program. And
How long have you been here, Kim?
January. I
So,
started in January.
About 2 months.
Yeah. So I'm still learning. You're watching some of the YouTube videos and things like that. It's very interesting. The Facebook.
Oh, yeah. And where do you work? What do you do?
I work in insurance and billing at a doctor's office.
There you go.
So it's very interesting, the Facebook question that just came up, because I had that conversation earlier today with a loved one who is going to get the vaccine.
Going to get the shot.
And so, I'm struggling with how to communicate what I'm learning. Of course, my main presentation was that, it's confusion and God's not the author of confusion.
Bingo. Yep.
And I know that that's not from the Lord. So
Bingo.
I guess my main question is, because I'm being told I'm a conspiracy theorist, blah, blah, blah. What if you could pick one video or website could I point this person to show them the truth about the shot?
The truth about the shot? Jeez.
If you need to think about it and get
I'll
back
think
to me.
about
Okay.
There's documentaries. There's ones I've done. Oh, and the one next week. Oh, yeah. Next week. That would be a good one, yeah. I mean, I guess, yeah, that's the obvious answer. Next week would be good because you're going to see the top leading experts on the planet talk about the nonsense that has been happening in the last year and how not a lick of it makes sense, and you will never make sense of it. But, yeah. That would be a good one. If you just want to know the history of and the just absolute horrible hellish origins of shots, I would say part 7 of Darkness to Light. That might blow your mind because I'd introduced a whole lot of stuff there that I'd never had introduced before. It's just kind of, prayed about it and said, okay, show me what's going on. And I remembered a patient years ago telling me about Jonathan Edwards dying of a vaccine injury. Jonathan Edwards was Sinners in the Hands of an Angry God. We live in Cleveland, Tennessee. Everyone in this room should know what Sinners in the Hands of an Angry God is. Does anyone here not know what that is? The most famous sermon of all time. Sinners in the Hands of an Angry God is the most famous sermon, second only to the Sermon on the Mount by Jesus himself. It was heard by more people worldwide, is still in print, and is in book form that you can read at any bookstore. You can go to the library and get it. I own a little 99-cent copy of it. Blew my mind. Jonathan Edwards lit up the entire eastern seaboard of this country, right around the, founding of the country, with what was called the First Great Reformation, the Great Awakening. Yes, thank you. So Jonathan Edwards leads, has the baddest sermon in history right next to Jesus. A few years later, he takes a shot and dies. He wanted to demonstrate to his congregation that the shot was safe because prevailing science said it's all safe. Well, if I was the devil, who would I take out? Fast. Let's get him. If I was a bad guy, let's take him out. You know what I mean? Well, you can't believe that. It's a conspiracy theory. Really? The devil is a conspiracy theory? To discount conspiracy theories, you would have to discount the existence of evil. That can't be done. Not to a rational, sane human being. But to someone who's CNN and, Fox and, TV brainwashed, yeah, it's too much to ask. So I get 15, 20, 30 minutes with somebody in a week. They get 8 hours a day with their spouse for them to talk them out of everything I just said. Or they get their relatives and their people saying, oh, I don't know, the TV says this. I get 15, 20 minutes a week. That's why I preach my guts out here on a Monday night to tell everyone, here's what's going on. Watch this video, read this book. Here's this documentary. Here's these handouts. Come to this class, watch this testimonial. Try to spread it all out. So I would say get as much as you can information and then be able to show them stuff that's not emotional. Be able to show them stuff that's just factual. You can look this up. It's logical, it's physiological, and it's biblical. If they're not going to believe biblical, they're going to have a hard time with everything we're preaching here. Because we're not going to say one thing that we can't prove in a court of law. It's not my opinion. I don't care about your opinions, your thoughts, your feelings, what you believe. I care about what you can prove. That doesn't mean to be, I'm not saying that to be mean. I'm saying that to be real. Nowadays, someone's opinion trumps science. Their opinion of what their DNA says trumps the genitalia hanging off the front of their body in a court of law. We live in a society that has devolved so much to the point where someone's opinion changes their chromosomes. We live in the most deceived time in all of recorded human history, and people don't know what bathroom to pee in. So you have to take authority over it, and you have to step into it and just go, you know what? People are going to hate this. I noticed somebody walked out. Somebody walked out when I got into the vaccine thing. I don't know. I hope she was listening. I hope she got it. I hope she just maybe had to go somewhere. But the fact of the matter is you're going to offend people, and you're going to piss people off at some point. Oh, okay. I hope so. I was really hoping that I wanted her input. She's a teacher. I really want to hear her. She's dealing with this on a daily basis. Most of my people here are medical people and teachers. So like I love talking to teachers and saying, what are you seeing in the trenches? You know, what are you seeing when you at school? What are you seeing in behavior? What are you seeing with, body types? You know, when I went to school, there was like one or two people in class that were a little bigger. Now it's pretty common. So I really want to hear what she has to say. But know this, Kim, you're gonna alienate some people. Anything else? All right, should we sign off? Yes, and then we'll give away free stuff and answer, where did allergies come from, Janice? And we're not spinning tonight. We're getting out of here too late. But we will do the Wheel of Wellness next week, maybe after the movie. I'm Dr. Brett Spradlin. We are Divine Design Natural Health. Get on down here. We'll talk to you soon. So, freebies. Hold on. Never mind. Freebies. Cheryl Lowry. Yay! Oh, wow. Yeah. Jim Doyle.